Alright, so me and Kyle will be debating about the Mediterranean fruit fly and their sterilization. I'll be the con, Kyle will be the pro.
Well, the Mediterranean medfly is a highly invasive species, not native in most areas, that just rampages wherever it goes. It devours plants without any relent and completely destroys them, leaving farmers without any hope for selling these fruit. They lay their eggs inside the fruit, and, well, they just burst out. They just come through. You know what I mean? Yep. Other countries have been sterilizing this medfly by either extremely radiating eggs to the point where they're sterile, but still healthy enough to mate, or they do a little genotherapy and make them sterile that way. This prevents the medflies from being able to be born, and it saves an extreme amount of cash. It preserves the fruit, which in turn provides more money, and it removes the need for aerial pesticides, which is way better for the environment. Again, these are just extremely destructive flies, and we don't need them. The plants, even if they do manage to lay eggs, they won't hatch, so you would hardly notice that they're in the plants anymore. They've been eliminated from the United States and Mexico for about 30 years, and they need to be eliminated in other areas. Recently in San Diego, they've had an outbreak, and we've tried doing the radiation fly. Okay, the radiation fly sterilization, and it hasn't quite been working, so they're hoping to use the genotherapy method.
Alright, so let's take a look at this. We are sterilizing flies. Not only is that ethically wrong, but that's also morally wrong. Those are basically the same thing, but it's still wrong in a sense. You wouldn't enjoy somebody making it so that you couldn't reproduce and that you couldn't just be you. It's a conflict with varying parties of they're just flies. They're just flies. There's nothing more you can say about it. They're not entitled to the same basic humanities as us, per se, but they are still entitled to some sort of animal humanity of some sorts. They should be allowed to reproduce, to be themselves, to just do it. And I'd like to point some issues out with Kyle's argument. So he did state that other countries are doing this. But the thing that I want to say, are we like other countries? We are the US of America. We are not Sweden, we are not Germany. We are America, we are our own selves, and that's how we've always been, and we will always be. And he said it would be cheaper to do this than it would be, say, spray pesticide and stuff. Doesn't it cost money to sterilize insects also? And I don't know, I don't have the figures per se on myself, on my persons, but I could say it would maybe cost a pretty penny. And you also mentioned about insects being in the fruit still, and we wouldn't even notice it. So we're eating insects because of this, and when pesticide could do the same thing and we wouldn't be eating insects. All I have to say is that's pretty gross. Alright. You can
rebuttal?
Yeah, you can rebuttal.
I can rebuttal it.
You can rebuttal it.
Well, mentioning that it's ethically wrong, I mean, we are talking about fruit flies here. They live just to eat, poop, defecate, and reproduce. So it's not like they have a nuclear family, 2 kids and a wife. Once they have their kids, they die. Let's be honest here. So, yeah, they may lay the eggs in the fruit, but they're so small and they're essentially nothing once they've been sterilized. So when you eat it, it won't do anything to you. Yeah, and mentioning the whole, it costs money to sterilize. Yes, it would cost money to sterilize them initially, but in the long run, you would save more money sterilizing and wiping them out than you would laying down pesticides and killing them that way, which would also harm crops and other environmental factors. Yes, maybe they should be allowed to reproduce, but they don't exactly have a predator to keep them in line, period. I mean, they're flies here.
That's just it, Kyle. You just mentioned the biggest part of this argument. They are flies. They are like an animal, like any other animal. Would you sterilize a little bunny rabbit? A little dog? I mean, we do, but still.
We do.
It's a thing, as the great state of America, for us to be responsible for keeping this insect, this pest, alive. Now, as he did say, it would cost money to sterilize them. Where are we going to pull that money from? As America, we have a lot riding already in the Middle East. Shenanigans such as those.
Shenanigans.
And he did say that we would still be eating these pests. I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty gross to me. Pesticides do the same exact thing. We're coming up with new pesticides all the time, new ways to keep insects away. GMOs, for example. They all work. So why invent some new fancy technique when the old way works?
Well, most countries, they still utilize DDT, and those are extremely harmful.
As I said, are we other countries?
Got a point.
Wrap it up, Kyle. You can take the last bit.
Well, you can take whatever point you want with this, but these are flies.
That is
Think
true.
what you will. Call it a day. Remember, when they're wiped out, we save money.
True. Maybe not. I mean, no, not true.